.NET has evolved over the years. Hit the subscribe button and stay tuned as we look back at some of the new features that are in .NET 6 and .NET 7. And as a bonus, we'll also show you how to find out about the new .NET 8 features. One of the biggest changes in .NET 6 was the merge of the program and startup classes. So with the program class, what we used to do is we used to declare the fact that we're using the startup class as the configuration. In the startup class, we'll pass in the configuration as a parameter in the constructor and declare it as a read-only property. We'd also have a couple of different methods. So we'd have the configure services. This is where we can add services to our application, such as controllers, also adding services to dependency injection. Then we'd have the configure. So at this point, the application has been built and we're declaring which middleware we wish to use as part of the application before the application starts. As part of the merger, everything from the startup class moved into the program class. We also added top-level statements. Here we're going ahead and creating a new web application builder instance, and we're adding services to the container, such as adding controllers. We can also add services to dependency injection. We build the application, and then we can declare what middleware we wish to use as part of the application before it starts to run. .NET 6 saw the popular minimal API feature added. What this allows us to do is to add API endpoints without going down the MVC route and all the code bloat that goes with it. It's designed more for smaller APIs with less features than what's included with MVC. So here we're using the map get. There's also a map post, a map put, and a map delete. We're passing in the endpoint of a team with a parameter of ID, and we're passing in the parameter as ID. What we can do here is we can just return a results.ok and we can pass back the ID. So it's a lot more minimal, a lot less code than what's included with MVC. Rate limiter was a .NET 7 feature which allows us to restrict the number of requests to an API endpoint. We do that in the program.cs file, so as part of the iService collection, we can call the addRateLimiter extension method. In this instance, we've given it a name of test policy and we've permitted a limit of requests to 10 in a window of 12 seconds. When that limit has been reached, we can have a queue limit of 3, and when it starts processing the queue, it will do the oldest one first. If any more than 3 requests join the queue, it will throw an error as part of the response. We then have to call the useRateLimiter as part of the web application once it's been built. Now, in order to use it in an MVC endpoint, what we can do is we can call the enableRateLimiting method and we pass in the policy name. So the policy name is test policy, and that is now set up for this endpoint. Parameter binding was a simple .NET 7 change. What we're doing here is that when the myService is initialized, it's setting the time to the current time. We're adding it as part of dependency injection as part of the scope service lifetime. Now, in order to call this in an API endpoint, we used to have to call this from services attribute to resolve the myService from the IOC container. But as part of .NET 7, we can just remove that and it will still resolve the myService from the IOC container. If you want to know more about the new features in .NET 8, view our video playlist. It contains information about keyed services and new data annotations for model validation. In addition, it contains a number of videos that are related to C#12.